Welcome, everyone. I'm here with Dan Waas. Dan, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Great.
It's very exciting. Very green and colorful. Very relaxed. I like it.
You are a bit of a spiritual leader for people in the video world. I know you've done some interesting things with LogMeIn and your former company prior to that. But just tell me a little bit about what's happening in the video space. And I know you've been part of a big launch over there with Go-To-Stage and in tandem with LogMeIn. So tell me what you've been doing that's sort of unique and different in that space.
Yeah. Well, so the last couple of days, I've just been preparing for this because, as you know, my talk is later today, and I'm going to talk about video marketing, trust,
Yep.
and how getting yourself out there really makes all the difference, right? And so that is, when we work on the product, that is really what we want to polish out and get out there for people to be able to use and really be able to take their own personality, take it out on stage, and actually have people see it at scale. And I think that's where webinars come in, that's where Go-To-Stage, so you referenced it, that's our new platform for on-demand video that comes included with GoToWebinar.
Yep.
That's really what that targets is, I have this opportunity to really connect with people. So on a webinar, people spend 52 minutes on average. So marketing webinar, right? You know this is a marketing webinar. People spend 52 minutes on average. Where else do you get that kind of time?
Yeah.
And I believe the reason for that is that people, they want answers right now, and there is an element to being in the moment that is unique to live events and to live video.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're trying to get out there.
There's a unique opportunity with the video versus live, which is unique in that you can actually curate, make sure you have higher quality. Do you think that trend will continue, that people will gravitate more towards recorded, polished, proven, lots of shares, lots of likes material, or do you think that live will have a place and even more of a presence, particularly when we look at Gen Y, for example, who's like multitasking and seems to like more personality based? What's your take on that?
I think the trend's toward live, but I don't think it's either or. I think both have a space, and you need both, right?
Yeah.
So when we look at what people say, when people don't show up for a webinar, the number one reason, 26%, is, well, I didn't want to show up. That was not my intention anyway. I want to watch this on demand. I want to watch this on my own time. So I think there's different groups of people. There are people that really thrive on that element of live and being in the moment. And then there's people that are just like, I'm in and out. I just want to get the right stuff and get the info and be gone, right? And so that is, you'll remember we talked about this, right? That is part of Go-To-Stage, right? We know a live webinar is like 60 minutes, and people get really engaged and they stay long, but you're not going to do a Facebook video and watch it for 60 minutes, right?
Yeah, right.
And so with the on-demand mentality, right, you want to get in there, you want to get the 5 snippets of stuff that you really wanted to know, and then you want to have that same content compressed into 5 minutes, right? And so I think you need to do both.
Compress your talk today into two or three things that you think are the strong takeaways that people can put to work and view this video, this teaser, and then boom, go right over and watch your video, which they'll be able to do.
Yeah, so compressing, I had to compress it from like 50 minutes to 18 minutes, which is hopefully going to be great. Yeah, but I'm going to talk about, there's this uncanny thing when we think about marketing, automation, AI, right? As marketers, we get really excited and carried away with that, of like wanting to automate everything. And I think, automation's fine. You want to automate the stupid stuff, right? The stuff that just takes time and is boring and you don't want to do it. But I think we're risking sometimes automating the human interaction, and that's what we shouldn't do. So I'll talk a little bit about AI, and then I'll talk a lot about trust and how trust is so important as a differentiator, and how, like, what happens when you lose trust, which is terrible. So I have this mad cow slide, and you see Canada's beef exports collapsing, and that's what happens when trust is gone, right? So, and then I talk about how you build that up. So what are the elements of building trust? And it was interesting, in David's keynote yesterday, he talked about the mirror neurons and now, like, how you feel like you know an actor, right? And someone takes a sip of red wine in the movie and you want to take a sip of red wine. And I think in a lot of ways that relates to video. You can build these real relationships with people on video. So I have an example of a team that I ran years ago where we couldn't meet for 6 months because we didn't have the budget. The companies had merged. There was people all over the place. But we had just released webcam video for GoToMeeting, and so I asked everybody to come on video every time. When we walked into the room 6 months later to did like a kitchen cooking thing together. Didn't feel like we were walking into the room for the first time. We were super comfortable with each other. We were super familiar. And so that's the stuff I'm going to talk about, how to use trust, how to build it, how to keep it, and how video is so essential to that, and how video is really, as marketers, our way to do that and do it at scale. It doesn't really matter if it's live or on demand. I think there's like a big play for live, but there's also a play for on demand.
Fantastic. Tune everybody, tune into the session if you can. And we look forward to learning more about Dan the Man that will show us how you can make video better. I just made that up, but it sounded pretty funny.
Good job, Ryan.
Very
Thanks
good.
for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming to the show and being a sponsor as well. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Right on. Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.